All right, welcome back. Today, we're going to do a little unboxing. We're cracking open one of the most powerful toolkits in the AI world, Google's Vertex AI. So let's take a look inside and see what kind of tools you get to build something truly amazing.
Okay, so if you've ever tried to build an AI project, you know this feeling, right? It's like your garage is an absolute mess. You've got one tool over here for getting your data ready, another one for training, a completely different one for deployment. It feels like you're digging through a pile of junk just to find the right wrench. It's just chaos.
Well, what if you could clean up that garage? What if you had one single, organized toolbox where everything has its place? That's really the whole idea behind Vertex AI. It isn't just a random pile of parts, it's a unified platform. One toolbox that brings order to all that chaos and covers you from the very beginning to the very end of your project. All right, let's get into it. Here's our tour. First, the big picture. What makes it a Swiss Army knife? Then we'll check out the AI App Store, peek inside the workshop, see the automated assembly line in action, and wrap up with how to keep all your hard work safe and sound. So the best way to wrap your head around Vertex AI is to think of it like a Swiss Army knife for machine learning. Instead of trying to duct tape together a bunch of separate, clunky services, you just have this one platform. It's got a specific tool for every single job, all folded up neatly in one place. Okay, so first things first. Every great project, especially in AI, needs a really solid foundation. And that almost always means finding the right model to build on. But where do you even begin to look? And this is a huge, huge question for so many teams out there. Think about it. Maybe you're under a crazy deadline for a pilot project. Or maybe you just don't have the millions of dollars and army of engineers it takes to train a giant model from scratch. So, what do? Where do you go? Well, you go to the Vertex AI Model Garden, and honestly, the best way to think about this is like an app store for AI. It's literally a place you can go to browse, discover, and just pick from this massive library of pre-built, ready-to-use models. And what's so cool about the garden is how simple it makes everything. You can find these incredible, top-tier models from Google, things like Imagen, or you can grab popular open-source ones like Llama 3. You just check out their model cards, which are kind of like the back of the box, telling you what it can do and what the license is, and then boom, you deploy it with just a few clicks. It is by far the fastest way to get a new project up and running. Okay, great. So you've been to the model garden, you've picked out the perfect model. Now what? Well, now you need a place to actually roll up your sleeves and get to work. A place to write your code, run experiments, and really tinker with that model to make it your own. You need a workshop. And that workshop is Vertex AI Workbench. Think of it as this perfectly set up, managed environment that's all built around Jupyter notebooks, which, as you know, is the bread and butter for data scientists. The best part? You just open it and start coding. You don't have to waste any time setting up servers or messing with infrastructure. It's just ready to go. All right, so you've been in the workshop, you've been tinkering, and your code is perfect. But now you have a new problem. How do you take that brilliant little experiment and turn it into something that runs reliably over and over again? Because you definitely don't want to be the one manually clicking run on every single step every single time. No way. You need an assembly line. And this is exactly where Vertex AI pipelines come into play. This is your automated MLOps assembly line. You basically lay out the blueprint just one time. Step 1, prep the data. Step 2, train the model. Step 3, see how well it did. Step 4, deploy it. And once you've defined that, the pipeline just takes over and runs that whole sequence for you every single time. And we're not just talking about running a simple script here. This is about orchestrating the entire workflow. So let's say you want to retrain your product recommendation model every single night with the latest sales data. A pipeline does that for you, automatically. You can even get fancy and add business rules like, hey, only deploy this new model if its accuracy is over 95%. That right there, that's what makes your AI truly scalable and super reliable. So what's actually powering this whole factory? Well, down in the engine room, you've got some choices. GPUs, they're like a standard car engine. Super versatile, pretty powerful, they get the job done. But then you've got TPUs. Think of these as Google's custom-built racing engine. They were designed to do one thing and one thing only, but do it incredibly well. Those massive, mind-bending math calculations that are at the very heart of deep learning. And they're all linked up with the specialized high-speed network, which just makes training at a massive scale incredibly efficient. And of course, no factory is complete without a massive warehouse, right? For your AI factory, that warehouse is Google Cloud Storage, or GCS. This is where you dump all your raw materials. We're talking terabytes of images, petabytes of documents, endless streams of log files, whatever you've got. You store it all here before it heads off to the assembly line. It's huge, it's cheap, and it scales with you.
Okay, so building powerful AI is awesome, but, deploying it responsibly, safely, legally, that's a whole different ballgame. And this is where having the right governance tools becomes absolutely 100% critical.
Just imagine this for a second. An auditor from a compliance team walks into your office and says, "Show me, prove to me exactly which data set and which version of the code created the AI model that's running in production right now." I mean, if your setup is a mess, that is a full-blown nightmare. Where would you even begin to look?
The answer is in the Vertex AI model registry. And the perfect analogy here is a library card catalog. For every single model you create, it keeps this permanent, unchangeable record. It knows the version, it knows the exact data it was trained on, all the settings you used, everything. It tracks the complete family tree of your model, which makes those scary audits, well, actually pretty straightforward.
Okay, here's another big one, and this is especially crucial if you work for a global company, say in banking or for the government. A lot of countries have really strict laws about where their citizens' data is allowed to go. So, what do you do when the data you have is legally forbidden from ever leaving the country it came from?
This all comes down to a concept called data sovereignty. It sounds complicated, but it's actually a pretty simple rule. Your data has to follow the laws of the country where it was collected, period. The good news is, with Google Cloud, you can actually enforce this. You can set it up so that all of your data processing, all of your model training, everything happens strictly inside a specific country's borders. And just like that, you're compliant.
So we've just taken a full tour of the Vertex AI toolbox, from the App Store for finding models to the workshop for building them, all the way to the assembly line and the safety features. Let's just quickly wrap up with the key takeaways.
So, here's what you really need to remember. First, Vertex AI is a unified toolbox, not just a messy pile of parts. Second, it really does have a specific tool for each job, finding a model, building it, automating it, and governing it. And it's all powered by some seriously specialized gear like TPUs and GCS. And maybe most importantly, those governance tools, they're built right in from the start, not just tacked on as an afterthought.
All right, so we've unboxed the whole thing. We've seen the App Store for models, the workshop for building, the assembly line for automation, and the library for keeping it all safe. The toolbox is open. The platform is right there, ready to go. So really, the only question left is, what are you going to build?